I am Pastor Ben Martinez, Senior Pastor of the Hayward Free Methodist Church for about 22 years. Tonight, I've been assigned to speak about the rich and poor in the Scripture based on the Free Methodist Church perspectives. I think I'm about to begin, just to proceed on that. Again, to the panelists and those who are joining us, good evening. Well, my topic is about the rich and poor in the Scripture. So allow me to bring back to you to the days of Solomon. King Solomon's Proverbs speak the truth both in the old and the present. Allow me to refer you to Proverbs 31, verses 8 and 9. This is a beautiful verse written by King Solomon. And it reminds us all to speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute, to speak up and judge fairly and defend the rights of the poor and the needy. Wow. Those are written by no other than King Solomon. Now, what does speaking up mean to us, Free Methodists? Well, in this day and age of polarized politics, it is often difficult for anyone to speak out what God entrusts us, whether or not we are in a higher position to say what needs to be said. We, the church in particular, the Free Methodist Church, is accountable to God to speak to power when there is injustice and oppression before us. Today, people in power, and even the church herself, are confused what to do. Yes, it's true that there are few who speak up for actual injustice. But sadly, there are also many who speak up for made-up causes for political convenience. But I'd like to remind everyone that Scripture is crystal clear. God calls us, His church, to have the courage to stand up, to speak up, to defend the poor and the powerless. That's what I believe speaking up is all about. For those who cannot speak for themselves, what does it mean to us? Let me state here that there are those who have the power to make a change, but choose to be silent. Friends, I have good news for you. God has great expectations to His church and His people. There are many reasons why some people are unable to speak for themselves. And that's where Christian leaders are called upon. Leaders like you and me must have known this since the day we decided to follow Jesus. Because on that same day that we'll commit our lives to Jesus, we've become defenders of the cause of the poor. That's what we have to know about when we speak for those who are poor and powerless. And how about for the rights of all who are destitute? Now let me tell you, for a compassionate church like ours, we cannot ignore those who are destitute and those who become what they are today. We cannot condemn them nor judge them. Nevertheless, we should know that they still have rights. They have rights because they bear the image of God. And therefore, they have the love of Christ, the love of God, and they have those essential values that God cares about. If we know that their rights are violated, church, especially leaders of the church, should not be silent about it. Because we know that they are powerless and they cannot defend themselves. So we, the church, should defend them. For by defending the poor, we see Christ in our poor brother and sister. How about speaking up and judge fairly? Well, we know who our judges are and who is our main judge. But the judge is put in place to judge fairly and justly, that the rights both of the rich and the poor are not violated, more particularly to the poor. The judge's policies should spring from justice and fairness and equality. Likewise, the church is called to defend, especially the poor and the destitute. Not because we feel sorry about them, but because we, as Christian leaders, as people of God, are called to be just and righteous. When we walk with God and have turned our lives over to Him, He will empower us to accomplish His purposes. He will give us wisdom and abilities to help the poor in ways that don't harm them, but rather help them overcome poverty and reclaim their human dignity. Friends, the Constitution of the Free Methodist Church holds the holistic view that all aspects of people's needs, may it be psychological, physical, social, or spiritual, should be taken into account and seen as a whole. Poverty and lack of healthcare access are two serious examples that we as a church need to address. Paragraph A. 158 of the Free Methodist Church Constitution, under membership and covenant, with subtitle As Regards Ourselves and Others, declares that as people of God, we must live wholesome and holy lives and show mercy to all, ministering both to their physical and spiritual needs. We, as a church, must speak up and serve as the megaphone of those who cannot speak themselves. If we don't speak up for them now, then who will? Thank you, and God bless you.
Wow, Ben, that was stirring. I want to go out and change the world. Thank you, brother.